So yeah, American-made motorcycle companies, if you want to know why you don't have any customers and they're all going overseas, this is exactly why. What's up guys, welcome back. I'm not gonna drag you along, I'm not gonna clickbait you or anything like that. I'm straight up gonna tell you my honest opinions on my 2023 Challenger that I picked up a couple months ago. And honestly, I haven't ridden it a whole lot because the thing's kind of a piece of shit. Now everything I'm gonna tell you everything about my honest opinion and my personal experiences, and then I'm also gonna tell you about things that I found online that other people had to say about this particular bike. And if you're one of those people that are concerned about companies collecting your data for their personal use or whatever, you're gonna wanna watch this as well. Now, to my understanding, between 2022 and 2023, they changed the software, the head unit, the brains of the bike. Now let's go over the issues that I've had with the bike so far. The first thing this bike needed was an entire new wiring harness. Apparently it just went bad. So what was happening is that I would be riding and then it would just basically cut off a cylinder and go into limp mode. And it was throwing an O2 fault. And so when I took it to the dealership, they ran a couple tests for a couple days and they sent the results to Indian and ultimately decided that the entire wiring harness had to be replaced. Not a big deal, it's under warranty. Then the next thing, which I'll show you right here, is if you want to go for a ride, you can't. Now, mind you, I just rode this thing 3 days ago. Today's Friday. I rode it, let's see, Thursday, Friday. I rode it Tuesday to go grab grab lunch. And so we're 3 days now, and I went to ride it today, and I can't because, I don't know if you can see that, blinking red light battery. No power. Now the interesting thing about the battery dying after just sitting for 2 or 3 days is interesting because it didn't happen until after they replaced the wiring harness. Now I took it back to Indian and they had it for a couple days. They did a couple tests to see if it was drawing any power, and according to them it was drawing whatever amount of power was in spec. So 2-3 days, your battery's completely dead and your bike won't start. That's within their spec, which is completely bullshit if you ask me. Their solution to their problem was that I keep the bike on a trickle charger all the time. And the issue with that, and with all batteries, is you don't want them to sit on a charger non-stop. I'm not trying to burn my house down, so I'm not gonna leave it on the trickle charger all the time. It's just not gonna happen. Even my drill batteries or anything like that, I don't keep them on the charger because I've known there's been dealerships around here that have burnt to the ground because they left battery tenders on, and it's not gonna happen to me in my home. When it was there, they said, oh, it's just whatever, it's just kind of what it is, just the way it is, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. And it turns out that the bike is doing more after you turn the bike off, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Now keep in mind, I was told that motorcycle batteries just need to be put on a tender if you're not gonna ride it all the time. Well, that bike there, which is a 1998 Honda Magna. That battery is dead because that's been sitting for about 1.5 years now. But previously, that thing would sit for like 6 months and it would still fire up. And I used like an AutoZone battery, like the cheapest battery I could put in that bike is in that bike. And it outperformed the battery that Indian threw in this thing. And if you remember correctly, I had the S1000RR. That thing had the M battery in it, and that was supposed to be, you know, whatever, it's a super light, like high performance battery, whatever. And that thing would sit for a month and a half. It didn't matter. I could jump out here, start the thing, no problem, every single time. This is the first bike that can sit for 2 or 3 days and then just be completely dead to the point where you can't even start the engine. And when I first took it to Indian, I thought maybe the battery was just faulty. They'd replace it, again, it's under warranty. But after their testing, they decided that they're not gonna warranty the battery or even try a new battery because it's testing fine and within their specs. So in order for a new battery, guess who gets to fork out the money? This guy. Which isn't gonna happen, by the way. I'm not gonna put any money into the thing. Now for my other issue, while the bike was in there, getting the battery tested and all that, I was looking at some other stuff on it and I kind of wanted to make it a little bit louder, so we decided to put in the Midpipe, which is basically like the cat delete, and it's gonna make it flow better and all that good stuff. Now while I was in there, I always make sure that there is a tune available for the bike that I'm doing exhaust to, because if you do an exhaust on a bike and you don't tune it for the exhaust, it's not gonna run that good. So when I asked the guy, he said, yes, you can do the Lloyd's tune. I saw the thing there. Sure. I asked him, I'm like, do I need to do the tune if I'm gonna do the Midpipe? He said, no, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can. So I said, well, I'll ride it for a little bit and we'll determine whether or not it needs a tune after I've ridden it for a little bit with the Midpipe. So I get the Midpipe, it sounds great, you know, whatever, but it just rides, honestly, like dog. It's got the D-cell pops, which are not healthy. It's not like a healthy D-cell pop. The power is definitely not there. If you try to jump on it, it'll stutter. It runs poorly. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get it tuned. So then I go to my buddy Eric. So Eric owns Proven Power Cycles. And I'll put a link down in the description for his channel. I do all of his edits and stuff like that, and he tunes motorcycles. He's badass. But anyway, I talked to Eric and we set up a day that we're gonna do a dyno day. We're gonna throw this bike on the dyno. I'm gonna film it. We're gonna make some YouTube content out of it and just have fun with it. Well, we started looking into it and it turns out you can't tune this thing. Lloyd's doesn't even offer a tune for the 23s. So I don't know where the service guy got his information from when he told me that I could, but you can't. Now who knows, maybe eventually they'll be able to unlock it and get a tune for this thing, but at the time of making this video, I can't get a tune for it. So now I've got an Indian that I can't keep charged, and then I got a Midpipe that makes the thing run like and I can't tune it because they changed all the software in it. But it gets better. So I did some research and there's quite a few forums out there, and I'm pretty surprised that there's not more videos on this on YouTube, but I found some pretty interesting information out there regarding the 23 and the 24 models of the Indian Challenger. And I am assuming that this is probably for all of their models, I'm not sure, but today we're talking about the 23 Challenger from Indian. Now a lot of people told me when I was having the battery issues that I should take the key fob and keep it away from the bike and all that stuff. I tried that, it doesn't work. So if you're gonna try that, don't waste your time, it's not gonna work. The issue with this bike is that apparently after you turn the bike off, it sits there and tries to upload your riding data to whatever server for the next 4+ hours. And while it's doing that, it's using your battery power. And it's just continuously updating all this ride command BS that they have in their system, and they want your information, so they're uploading it to their servers. Now, if this was a benefit to anybody, then sure, whatever, I get it. But I turned off all of that stuff. Like I didn't sign up for the Ride Connect, whatever all that BS is. I don't want any of that. I just want the bike to run and ride like it's supposed to. And apparently the older models, I've got a buddy who's got a 21 and somebody who's got a 22, and they don't have this issue. This seems to be a 23 and newer issue when it comes to the software updating and uploading all of your information, all that stuff. And from what I've found, there's no way to turn any of this off. So the entire time that you're riding, Indian is tracking you nonstop, and then they are uploading your data to their systems while the bike's sitting here. And while it's doing that, it's draining your battery, and that is why your battery is dead when you go to ride it next. So that's why Indian wants you just to put it on a trickle charger. Now, the other thing that I want to touch base on is the service for the bike. When you take it in for service, the techs at the dealership have no say whatsoever. They are wrench turners and they're damn good at it, but Indian doesn't give them the ability to make calls on the bike. With my S1000RR, that thing was in the shop all the time. Bo over at the time, it was Eurocycles, now it's Tampa Bay Motos, I think. Bo was amazing. I could call him, I could call the shop, stop by the shop, whatever. He could diagnose a problem. I don't know if he actually talked to BMW and that's how they came up with what they were gonna do with warranty and all of that stuff, but regardless, the process was quick. There was no back and forth. I always got my bike in, I got it back out. Of course there was issues and stuff like that with the bike, but long story short, they handled it amazingly. With Indian, it's kind of up in the air. Multiple times I had to make calls to get an update on the bike only to be told, oh yeah, it's ready. Well, why the hell didn't you call me then? Or, oh, we're waiting to hear back from Indian to see what we can do. Okay, well, why did I buy this bike if it just doesn't make any sense. So, like, if I buy it from a local place, so then I have a place to get it serviced, yet you have to contact somebody 1,500 miles away and wait for them to tell you what to do with the service. It doesn't make any sense. And when I started having all of these issues, it was within the 30-day period of when I traded in the S1000 for this bike, and I actually talked to the manager and tried to give this bike back and get my S1000 back because I was completely devastated with this purchase. I regret it wholeheartedly, and this has definitely changed my opinion on Indian as a motorcycle company. The way that they handle stuff, I'm not super pleased with it. Again, the guys at the dealership are great. It's just the policies that Indian puts in place for these bikes apparently, and there's no way around it. A part of me wishes I would have went with a Harley. I don't know if my experience would have been any better when it comes to the service side of it. Now, I understand that things go wrong. I am more concerned with how it's handled when things do go wrong. Again, the BMW was in the shop a lot, but they handled it like a boss. So yeah, American-made motorcycle companies, if you want to know why you don't have any customers and they're all going overseas, this is exactly why. Now, to be completely transparent with you guys, I have not really paid for a motorcycle in a very long time because of my ad revenue on my YouTube channel. I buy a motorcycle, I create content with it, go on rides, all that fun stuff, and it pays a little bit of money, and that's how I pay for the bikes. That's kind of what I was gonna do with this bike. It was a new type of bike, something a little different than what I typically have on the channel, and this bike has kind of discouraged me from doing that. So from this point moving forward, I don't think my YouTube channel is gonna be motorcycle stuff. I'm probably gonna focus more on making videos and camera stuff and just creative stuff that kind of is based around my business, and that's kind of where this YouTube channel is going to go. And we can thank this bike for that because I can't ride the thing. I can't be spontaneous and just jump on it and go for a ride because I have to plan it out. I have to know that it's not going to rain and that I'm going to have time to go for a ride because I have to plug the thing in if I want to go for a ride. I can't live like that. It's not how life works. It's not how my life works. My life is all over the place. It's very sporadic. I can't plan things out like that. It's just not the way it works. So this bike is the death of my motorcycle content, unfortunately. Now I was gonna end this video talking about the good things about the Indian, the things that I actually do enjoy about it, but after going through all of the other things that I just talked to you about, I'm gonna save that because it's not even worth it anymore. The bike's not worth it.